Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you very much for being here. I am going to start this episode with, if you are not a follower of the Farming Without the Bank podcast, please go do that. I am not duplicating podcasts, and I just did a podcast, Farming Without the Bank, 5 myths about the infinite banking concept. And so because I'm not duplicating those, you guys are going to want to follow both, even if you are not a farmer. I do not very often talk about farming on the Farming Without the Bank podcast. So I want you to know, go over there, go pause me, go find Farming Without the Bank, subscribe, and then listen to those as well. There might be some podcasts on there that you don't want to listen to because they are farming related, but I would venture to say I have less than 12 that are strictly farming related out of all of those podcasts. So go and then come back and, welcome back. Welcome back. All right. So today I want to talk about coaching. I had a call yesterday with somebody in the short-term rental world, and I am excited to use their program because those of you on this channel that know I really like short-term rentals and I like them for the money. I don't necessarily love them for the hospitality of it. That's why I have other people manage them. I am not going to pretend that I am the most hospitable person in the world because I'm not. If people come to our house, I'm like, it's 10 o'clock. Isn't it time for you to go home? We like our quiet time at our house. And we like to be able to just sit in quiet in the evening and, not be bothered by stuff. So I'm not one to plan parties. In fact, we are like, oh, we should have a housewarming party. We've been in this house a couple of years now. We should have a housewarming party. And I think that it's a good idea. And then, I wake up the next day and I'm like, yeah, that's not a good idea because I'm going to be tired and these people are going to want to stay all night. And then it's going to take me like a day or two to recover. And I just don't, forget it. Not gonna nope, we're just not gonna do it. Like the people that we wanted to see our house, saw our house. It would be nice to get together with everybody, but I want to be able to leave. And if it's at my house, I can't leave. So, I like short-term rentals, but I'm not like the person thinking about all the awesome stuff for you and the little gift basket for you and all those sort of things. Okay, with all that being said, which was not necessary, but it was said, I had this call yesterday with the Vodaci group. And Sean Moore from the Vodaci group has a whole program for short-term rentals and how to figure out, pick an area, there's a whole spreadsheet of how you figure out if it's going to be a good investment, if it's going to make money, how to take pictures, how to set yourself apart from everybody else, the taxes, the investment, the financing, all of that stuff is talked about. You have a community of people you get to talk to. It's absolutely going to be amazing. I just know it. I have not dove in yet, but I will be. What I was thinking about is it's quite expensive. The dollar amount is high. I'm not going to say how much it is on here because he'll probably change it as this podcast will live forever. He might go up in price. And so I don't want to talk about how much I've paid for it versus what it's going to be in 3, 4, 5 years from now when people are listening to this podcast. So the moral of the story is it is quite expensive depending on how you look at it. So he told me how much it was going to be. I had a 30-minute phone call with him. We had a great conversation. I got to decide if I wanted to work with him or not, very much like what I do, right? You guys read the book and then you have a conversation with me and decide if I'm even going to be someone you want to work with. We go through all your stuff. So I was able to tell him a lot about what we've got going on, what I want to do. And when he told me the price, if I remember correctly, he said something like, is that going to work? Or something to imply that is the price okay? And I suppose I could have asked for a discount, but there is a price to pay for expertise. And it is no different than business coaching. If you are on this channel, you probably have a business. You should be coaching with somebody. You need to learn from the expert. So I looked at it and said, I could lose X amount of money in a bad deal. I could lose 10 times or 20 times, maybe even 50 times what he is charging by buying one bad location and a house, right? By me not being able to work the numbers to see what I want to buy, I could have saved that amount of money. And with one bad decision, his stuff is paid for. Or if I buy his program and I get into his program and I make more money, then that decision was paid for in a matter of a month, right? In a matter of 2 months, 6 months, whatever that looks like. And I don't think that people really look at that sort of thing when they are looking at the coaching side of stuff. Even if we look at just what I do, people will come in, they'll read the book. Even if we look at just what I do, people will buy a book and then they go to their local agent or they email me and say, hey, my Uncle John sells insurance and I'd like to go through him. And do you think he could get me a policy like this? So you want my advice for Uncle John. Why isn't Uncle John doing his own research? Why isn't he going to the expert of Nelson Nash and looking and reading Nelson Nash's book? These other agents aren't doing their homework, but yet they're selling a life insurance policy and you don't even know anything about the infinite banking concept. And so why would I go buy short-term rental properties without having the adequate base of knowledge to be able to make that a successful endeavor? If you are starting a business and you don't know how to do it, why would you not pay somebody to be able to critique you, help you through that, do all those things? Right now, my daughter is doing some online stuff and she created her first video and I was like, it's okay. Like, it's not fantastic. I wouldn't hire you based off of that video, but these are some things to tweak. And she was a little bit offended. And I said, hey, I get that it's your first video. I'm not going to tell you it's all sunshine and rainbows. Don't you want to get hired for a job? Then you need to do better than where you're at. And so if we're not open to that criticism, how are we going to get better? And so as I was thinking about my conversation with Sean last night and this morning, as I'm recording this, I was like, it's just crazy to me that some people will try to go do this on their own and save the money. And maybe they don't have the money. I'm sure that these people would take payments for things. Or you can borrow the money, like get creative to figure out where you're going to get the money from so you can do it right to make money faster. How many of us are not doing that because we're too cheap and think we shouldn't be? So I had clients that also went through a short-term rental program and they went with somebody else. And it was a couple $1,000s cheaper. But now we get to compare notes on whose is better and why we like it better and how we're doing things. And so it's going to be fun to see that. But I look at those things and go, I'll pay more. The person that my clients went with have 4 years of experience in the industry. Sean's got 10 plus. He's been in real estate forever, but active in short-term rentals since like 2014, I believe he said. I want the history of that. I don't want somebody that's new in this space that got lucky and said, oh yeah, I got lucky. I've got 2 rentals that are doing really, really well. I look at even the rental we have and I'm excited to get into his program and put my current information in there to see what my current market should be for the one that we have and what we need to do differently to maybe even make it better in this area. And he's got all the things you need to look at and how you got to break it all down. And so I'm excited about it, but it just got me thinking, how many of us out there don't have some sort of a coach that we're not going to the expert because we don't want to pay them? By not paying somebody that knows what they're doing, by not paying somebody or hiring somebody that knows what they're doing, how much money are we leaving on the table? I am not managing my own short-term rentals because I just said I'm not Miss Hospitality. And so I need to find somebody else that's okay with that stuff because I'm not. I don't want anything to do with it. My husband is much easier going, but he doesn't want anything to do with the whole rental thing either. And so we had somebody stay in our short-term rental last weekend and the dishwasher was unplugged and we had to go over and figure out why this dishwasher isn't working. And they tried everything. They obviously didn't look to see if it was unplugged or not. But I was so annoyed by just having to go over there and disrupt even 10 minutes of my day because I wasn't in the mood for it. So that is where it's important to have somebody that can do those things. That's another reason why it would be nice to have one not by me, to not have a short-term rental by me. So I don't have the option to go over and fix it because now I'm being too cheap to hire somebody else because it's by me and it's, 5 seconds and I can be there. Versus if it were a long ways away, you would have to call somebody, they'd have to go over, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, how many of you out there have a business? I'm just rambling today, but how many of you out there have a business that you should find somebody that you can pay to help you versus you're just trying to muddle through on your own and it's going to take you longer to get all of that stuff done? Think about that. If there is somebody that you want to have some business coaching from, that you want to do what they're doing, that is good in the industry. That is the hardest part, is you need to vet these people and make sure that they are as good as they talk about. I listen to a lot of podcasts on people. I really study people because I am always actively looking for business coaches in different areas of my life. But I don't just go hire the first person I like off of the first podcast or the first video or something that I've seen. I really sit in that for a long time because if I don't like you as a person, if I don't trust you, I'm not going to hire you. It's just that simple. I will muddle through on my own rather than add more frustration or more lies. Because just like the industry that I'm in, people will lie about stuff. They will say that they're more successful than they are. They're not going to tell you the truth, and that does not sit well with me. And so I don't have a guessing game. I don't want a guessing game with my coaching. I want people to know what I need to do, and they've tested it, and it's tried and true. I don't have time to test it because that's what I'm doing now, all by myself. All right, let me know. Let me know what you guys think about that. Comments, questions, concerns. If you have ideas for topics, let me know. Don't forget to go over to Farming Without the Bank and grab the 5 myths of IBC. Okay, you guys, let me know if you need anything. MaryJo@withoutthebank.com. Otherwise, you have a fantastic rest of your day.